A teenage girl gets hooked on an online game full of dares and the other side of the internet. Is this just a harmless type of fun, or will she find herself getting sucked up into the deepest depths of the internet? Hello, and welcome to our channel. Today we'll recap and review the American techno-thriller adventure film, Nerve. Let's check it out.
High school yearbook photographer Venus, or V as others call her, has been wanting to leave her hometown, Staten Island, for college. As a young adult, she has hopes and big dreams for herself, one of which is getting into the California Institute of Arts, or Cal Arts. However, she knows she can't pursue it since her mother won't allow it. And even if she does, she cannot bear to see her poor mother alone in the house while still grieving her brother's death. In school, she often takes pictures of her longtime crush and varsity member, JP. Even if some of it's for the yearbook, she's also guilty of doing it for personal reasons, such as getting closer to him and staring at him with her camera without making it obvious that she's into him. One day, Sydney, one of her closest friends, introduces Nerve to her, an online game where people are divided into two groups: the watchers, who pay to watch, and players who accept dares from watchers in exchange for monetary rewards.
The Nerve app, as if it's not crazy enough already, takes old information from the user's phone and then exposes their weaknesses, such as their fears, and then makes the dares that much harder. Regardless of that, Nerve seems to have taken the world by storm, as people of all ages have been registering as players and doing crazy and adventurous dares on camera and then posting it for the world to see to become one of the top players.
After being suspended for exposing herself in front of the school, Sydney still wants to continue, as she wants to become one of the top players. When V questions her decisions, Sydney makes fun of her for not stepping out of her comfort zone and being unadventurous. V gets defensive and says she takes risks, but her friends completely disagree. As a poor attempt to encourage V to take more risks, Sydney walks up to JP to say that V likes him, but she gets upset when she and everyone in the cafeteria heard that she's not his type. With that humiliating experience, she signs up as a player on Nerve. She gets oriented on 3 rules. She must always film the dares with her phone camera, she can get eliminated by failing the dare or bailing, and lastly, snitches get stitches. Tommy, a close friend who's secretly in love with her, tries to warn her about the dangers of playing Nerve from a hacker's perspective, but V doesn't believe it and thinks it's just a fun app. Her first dare is to kiss a stranger for 5 seconds at a local diner. She kisses Ian, a stranger of her choice who suddenly starts singing and dancing to V. While Ian was about to leave, the watchers give them both a date to go to a city with each other. Caught up in the moment, V reluctantly comes with him to the city and even accepts another dare with him to try formal attire. Since they've gotten famous on Nerve, other people have received dares about them, such as stealing their clothes in the fitting room area. Upon realizing that their stuff is gone, the two of them panic, especially since the watchers have dared them to leave the store. Since V is not up for shoplifting, the two of them flee the store with just their undergarments, only to find the expensive clothes on Ian's bike that were already paid for by the watchers. Worried about her friend, Tommy digs into Ian's life, and when he finds nothing, he asks for another friend's help to go into the dark web.
Honestly, get yourself a man who's willing to go into the dark web for you. Tommy hasn't even confessed his feelings yet. Yet here he is, willing to go to the darkest parts of the internet just for V. Seeing the sketchy background of Ian, Tommy tries to call V, but all he gets is voicemail.
Meanwhile, V is slowly making her way to the top of the players, as she and Ian make dares related to each other. V gets her first tattoo, which was chosen by Ian. As for Ian, he has to ride his motorcycle at 60 miles per hour.
Well, that sounds pretty easy, right? Well, the dare part is that he needs to actually do it blindfolded. V reluctantly helps him navigate by steering his body and giving him directions. So, kids, adults in this case, don't do this at home, or in the streets, or anywhere else for that matter.
After a rocky start and a lot of traffic violations, the two ultimately get their momentum and complete the dare. The two of them share a kiss in front of the watchers and players of Nerve. Tommy was heartbroken by this, but still covers up for V. When Nancy, her mother, asks him where V is getting the ridiculous amount of money that was being deposited in her account. Meanwhile, V and Ian continue to spend the night getting to know each other more, and V feels connected to Ian more now than ever. She even opens up about feeling tired of being on the sidelines, and Sydney getting all the attention. Ian comments that Sydney seems like a girl who's insecure about herself. V, unaware that it's being broadcast on Nerve, confirms that she's insecure and has a lot of guys around her, which humiliates Sydney.
Ouch. That in front of a lot of people and from your own best friend? I mean, she probably just got caught up in the moment, but this is not very girl-supporting girls of V.
Ian checks his phone after that and smiles mysteriously. He then invites V to the same party where Sydney is. Feeling betrayed and jealous of her growing popularity, Sydney accepts the dare to cross a ladder between two buildings. However, she bails and drops her phone, causing her to get eliminated from the game. V and Ian go to the party, and everyone greets them enthusiastically as one of the most popular players on Nerve. When she discovers that Sydney is out of the game, she searches for her out of concern, but gets surprised when she sees her making out with JP. She walks out on her, but Sydney, who's a little bit intoxicated, confronts her about humiliating her in front of Nerve and reminds her that this is just a game and Ian is just one of its pawns. The two get into a heated argument when Sydney mentions V's brother, and V insults her whole personality while everyone is watching. This cost their friendship. After finishing Sydney's dare, Tommy reveals to her that Ian was dared by the watchers to make them argue. Ian tries to explain that the dares he's been doing are not for the monetary rewards, but V didn't let him finish because she just lost two of her best friends and she is done playing the game. Sick to her stomach, she goes to the police to report it. Ian desperately tries to stop her from doing it since it's explicitly stated in Nerve's rules that no one should snitch. However, he gets lost in the mob of admirers and was a little too late when he sees V report it to a policeman in a patrol car.
The police didn't believe her because technically, a crime isn't even really being committed. She walks about and gets a call from Nancy saying that all the money has been taken from her account.
V was just about to answer when Mad Max, a top player, knocked her out, deleting her identity in the game. Bruised and disoriented, she wakes up in a locked container with "Snitches Get Stitches" painted on the walls. A small computer activates and informs her with an automated voice that she's now Nerve's prisoner. It explains further that they are now in control of her whole life, and the only way out is to win the final round. She gets out of the container and finds Ian, who was actively looking for her. Ian reveals to her that Mad Max, or Ty as Ian calls him, used to be a friend in Seattle. They both got dared to hang from a construction crane which is approximately 200 feet in the air. However, things went wrong when another friend of theirs who was also part of the dare lost his grip and died. The two of them bailed like V, informed the authorities, but it was only declared an accident. For snitching, the Watchers messed up his family's entire life. He further explains in the final round he plans to knock Mad Max out so it would be just the two of them, and he's planning to make her win the game. Determined to win the game, she calls Tommy and reconciles with Sydney, who is extremely worried about her. While Ian is doing his mission in the same construction crane, V asks for Tommy and Sydney's help to disable Nerve by disabling its server through hacking the system. She leaves them to accomplish her own dare. Every Nerve user is watching them as they face each other in the final round with a handgun at Battery Weed. Meanwhile, Tommy and his friends are having a hard time shutting down the game system because their profile acts as distributed servers. The dare is whoever shoots first with 20 seconds wins the game. Ian urges her to shoot him, even just in the shoulder, but V can't do it. Mad Max, who's in the crowd, shoots a gun and declares that he'll do it to win while the players around them cheer. V provokes the crowd and Mad Max to shoot her to win the game. With that, he asks all the watchers and players to vote on whether he should kill V or not. When the screen says yes, he shoots V in the stomach, making her fall down to her knees. The moment it happens, Tommy sends a cue to his friends to alter the code of the game, revealing the real names of Nerve's users, as well as sending them a message that says, "You are an accessory to murder." Creeped out, they all collectively sign out of the app, making it easier for Tommy to easily close all the servers and end the game. Ian aims the gun at Mad Max for killing V, but to his surprise, she sits up and stops him by saying she's okay. She reveals that this is a detailed plan she and her friends crafted, and Sydney called Mad Max to be a part of this. Once the game is offline, Tommy and his hacker friends retrieve the stolen money and identities for the prisoners, bringing back the peace. Ian then reveals that his real name is Sam, and they share a kiss.
This movie is for our chronically online friends, as this asks the question, are you ready if your actions on the internet manifest in your real life? And setting aside any ethics questions, this movie is a thrilling watch. This movie perfectly captures the dangers of burying ourselves on the internet, while still giving us the fun of watching it unfold before our very eyes. Please subscribe to our channel to be notified when we upload. And don't forget to suggest movies that you want us to recap in the comments down below.